I'm Namrata Chattaraj, and I'm a graphic designer and an artist and a therapist. And I'll allow my co-speakers to introduce themselves. But before that, just rerunning the thought that this is not really a formal talk of any sort. It's an Adda session, and the subject is: does the intellect play a more of an important role in today's life and lifestyle over and above emotions? So I'll let my co-speakers introduce themselves.
Hello everyone, my name is Rahul Badoni. I think it's very difficult introducing myself, but I'm the youngest person on the panel right now, and I'm an existentialist slash minimalist. Peace out, yo.
What? Just Kim.
What is that?
I'm Amanda. I enjoy all sorts of art, and I'm here with my husband Zach.
And I'm Zach. I teach at Calcutta School of Music, and we also have a company here called Chi-Town Creatives. We love music, art, anything creative.
And yourself?
I just play sport. That's it. I'm out.
Kim. What sport?
Rugby and tennis.
So I just found out today that there's rugby in our city. I had no clue, and she's one of those people. My God, that's amazing. So, so to start off, I was just having a quick chat with some of the speakers earlier, and we realized that often we don't even know what exactly is the difference between deciding something or doing something that comes from the heart versus the mind or the intellect. So we had a bit of a debate between ourselves or conversation going, but I did this, and that was intellect. And then we realized, no, actually it came from your heart, and then everything else you did thereafter was probably intellect. So first of all, there is that confusion about which is which. You know, a lot of us today, we live a life where we are so connected to our gadgets, we are so connected to our work, but we are not really connected to each other, you know, like you don't even know what is going on with the person right next to you. We are scared to even say hello to people on the street. You're going to be considered pretty much a freak if you did that, and suddenly go introduce yourself and say hello or smile at someone. That's kind of considered creepy. So often, just to fit in to the world, we have become very logical, very either proper or just basically from the intellect, from the mind. We've forgotten, we've dissociated from the heart or even our body. So this conversation is more about what does everybody think about that, and where are they with respect to that in their own lives. So who would like to say something first?
Hello everyone, thank you for coming. This is a very personal space you've entered. The artwork on the floor has now been covered by your beautiful presence, and I mean, we're just trying to create a very interactive, collaborative environment right now. So even if I say something that you don't like, you can throw some food at me, but I got lemons over here too, so I'll probably throw something back at you. But to talk about what we wanted to actually speak about today, which was intellect and emotions. Now, I didn't know if it was a battle between the two, because that's a very difficult thing to really argue on either side. Yeah, again, speaking about our emotions and our intellect, the intellect, for me at least, as a young kid who's probably in school right now, I look at it as like a barrier that filters my emotions, that doesn't allow it to like really rip me to pieces. When I see the intellect, I see objectivity and rationality coming out of myself. But at the same time, my emotions are the only thing that allow me to empathize with other human beings. Because when we fear the same. When we love the same way. So if you don't want the responsibility, you'll have to blame the hominids for discovering fire and eventually putting us on top of the food chain. But I think it's a balance of both, and eventually without emotions, the intellect will probably make us into mechanical robots flinging poo at each other, or the emotions, with just emotions, will just be ripped apart to pieces. So it's a balance of both, more or less.
I think what Rahul said at the end, it's a balance of both, which is really important. Our emotions, you're able to connect with people, and speaking as a musician, as a creative person, I tend to lean more towards emotions. So I can go to 0 to 10 in like in seconds. And that's why like we're actually a pretty good balance, because Amanda is very smart and very articulate, so she'll probably share a little bit more. But our intellect sometimes can stop us from different decisions, different choices, as far as like compassion towards someone on the street, or basically what today is about. It's about making people aware of a really great cause and a really great boxing club that you may not have been aware of before. And so with the 145 East, if they would have thought just how much time this would have taken, just how much effort and how much, if that's the only thing they thought about, that would have stopped them. But they kind of led this with their emotions, with this compassion, with this care. And so I think we do have to have a really healthy balance of both. And just in everyday life. If we only led with our emotions, we'd be a very dramatic world. And I think we need to have just kind of use our brains with different decisions too. But definitely have a good healthy dose of just of your emotions through different decisions and different, I think that's what the kind of just the root is of just what tonight is, and just in general in life, when you feel compassion towards someone, or when you if you hear of different like natural disasters that happen, if you don't have any emotions towards that, you're a pretty hard person. But I think we just have to have a good healthy balance of leading our lives with both intellect and our emotions.
I would echo that in the sense that we have to have a healthy balance. I think one of the key things for us to realize, especially more and more, I feel like we have so many opportunities, and we have so many chances and opportunities to share who we are and to share about our lives, more so than I think my grandparents would have had, or even my parents. And it's a really cool thing to be able to have these open doors for creativity and for art and for music. I think that the key to having intellect is that it gives that emotion a sense of maturity, because your emotion doesn't just take over, but you're able to kind of explain your emotion and to give your emotion actual words and then actual action that comes beyond the emotion. So it's not just I feel really happy or I feel really sad, but it's this is why I'm happy, this is why I'm sad, and this is the kind of action I want to take because of it.
I just am. There's no thought process that I put into what I do or don't. And
You follow your heart then?
absolutely. There's never been, I never ever had to think of anything. I just always allow my emotions to take precedence or lead me wherever I need to go.
And would you say that once you've done that, you're fairly logical in your next few steps?
Yes.
Yeah. And he said, the first thing you need in order to do boxing is courage. And courage comes from the heart. And that's so beautiful, because you know what they're doing is basically boxing, which as all these years I would think, oh my God, why do you want to be violent? Why do you want to beat each other up? What is this? But there is so much discipline, there is so much thought behind the way any martial art, it's structure, yeah. And there is so much maturity and wisdom that comes with, say, boxing, with any kind of martial arts or any kind of competitive sport. It's not about just bashing the other person out of their minds. It's so much discipline, and it's almost a spiritual way of life, just doing that, waking up and doing that. But at the same time, how can you, often we are having this conundrum of you wake up and say, I come, for example, from a family of doctors or a very lawyer type family or something like that, and I want to wake up and be a boxer, I want to wake up and be an artist, or a pole dancer. And then what do? Everybody's looking at you like you're some kind of a psycho. So that fine line between really following your heart versus defying and rebelling, but you know, being able to do that with love and respect for what you actually want to do, which is sometimes hard because often children are always made to feel like they're stupid or they don't know what's good for them. and so they must listen to the grown-ups. But I think it's really tipping the balance, and things are changing in a big way, and little kids and young kids are discovering things and following their hearts and finding incredible solutions and inventions, and so amazing things happen when we really do follow our hearts, and in all these amazing ways that the speakers here just mentioned. And is there anything anybody else wants to add to this conversation in terms of their struggle or their opinion about the whole? Yeah.
Now, I just wanted to add a few points to what you all were discussing now. And I think those of you who have said you need to strike a balance between the IQ and the EQ. The intelligence quotient and the emotional quotient. You have just spoken the correct thing. But if I may add a few things, you'll always find our society, our community, or the part part of the world where we belong to, also does play a role in our intelligence makeup and our emotional makeup. We all know, those who are from Bengal, that Bengalis or the people from the east in this area tend to be more emotional. I don't know if anyone of you are from Germany. The emotion plays a very less part. There's some, like in UK, they're very practical. Whereas in France, they're very emotional. Similarly, in Bengal, they're very emotional. You go to our state, Gujarat, emotion doesn't play much of a role. It's all practicality.
More than just saying that it's a balance or a lack of one takes precedence over the other, maybe EQ over IQ. Don't make any mistake in thinking that even if I'm more EQ prone, that I ignore the IQ side of it, because that's not true. And I will, because I'm led by my emotions, but the rest of the other cues are behind me. In the queue. Never discount any of that.
Yeah. I think, so I am a hypnotherapist today, but I began as a graphic designer, and then I became a therapist, and now I'm also an artist. But in all of this, for me personally, my heart always played a big role, and it was always a battle of mind versus heart, and logic versus what I want to do. So personally, I would always have this mind battle going on with, oh, but I want to paint. But I've been growing up hearing, oh, if you're an artist, you're basically going to die hungry, alone, broke. You're going to run away with some psycho. You're going to marry some crazy person, and then he'll cut off your ear. Or, something crazy and diabolical like that. So I basically completely didn't want to do that. So I became a designer. So that was actually intellect. But thankfully, it was somewhat close to art. Art is more from the heart, and design is very much communication and intellect. So it was very difficult for me initially to be a graphic designer, because I wasn't somebody who was so intellect driven. I'm not good at conning the customer or trying to sell something that I don't believe in. So it was too much of ethics and other things, that principles and all these things that would get in the way. And eventually now, when I even paint, I cannot tell you the battle I've had inside me, the number of months of stagnancy I've had. I have a studio right next door, and there were months I would not even show up, because there is this battle of me versus me, which is, one is saying paint, and the other one saying, you've not painted since you were a kid, you're not as good as everybody else out there, and blah blah blah.
Can you just give me the mic?
Yeah, sure.
I would like to say to the audience, just take a deep breath. I'm sorry, I'm shooting as well as just saying all this. Just take a deep breath and look to your right, you'll see Jupiter. Just look to your right, it's Jupiter. That's deep, man.
Thank you so much for pointing that out. You just you reminded me of so many things right now. Number one, Rishabh, get up the telescope, please. And also, we're so insignificant and small. It's insane. It's insanity when we actually think about the universe and the kind of divide and conquering we're having in our world right now. It's a heinous miscalculation of reality. The second we look up, it's incredible. Our journey as human beings, right from single cellular beings to coming to hominids, to coming to today, to where we're actually going. And I don't know where we're going. I mean, when I look up, I see like amazing things. Something. Have you heard about the Voyager, which is basically
Yeah, I
darting
have.
through space and time, which is playing some of humanity's best music through radio frequencies, and it's almost like humanity screamed to the universe saying, "Yes, we exist." And no other species on the planet has actually ever done that. I don't even know if there's intelligent life out there, but we do have intellect and we do have emotion, and we do have a responsibility with that, and we can head somewhere with that too. Yeah.
Good evening. Yeah. Good evening. I really enjoyed the discussion, and being a teacher teaching literature, I was reminded of the Restoration and the Romantics. They took up Descartes' "I cogito ergo sum," I think therefore I am, and the Romantics said, "I feel therefore I am." And without that feeling, we would not have to see the world in a grain of sand. So I feel intellect maybe, but more important is clarity.
Really encouraged to feel as much, then more to do. Our educational system is just making us go through this mechanical process of reading through black and white textbooks and eventually like being able to mimic what was written on their textbook on a question paper. Now, is that enhancing our intellect or our emotions? Neither. I don't think so. But yet our culture is like eventually evolving through this particular pattern.
Ourselves. So there's this beautiful quote to sort of summarize that by Marianne Williamson, and it goes, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others." So on that note, we will conclude, and I will thank my fellow speakers and all of you for participating and making this so memorable and really cool. And I think we all need to have many more Adda sessions so that we can all connect with each other and ourselves more. Thank you.